How you doing, guys? This is Shar. Welcome, and I explain why Star Wars: The Phantom Menace is underrated and receives too much criticism. I'll explain why. How you doing, guys? And welcome. So, why Star Wars: The Phantom Menace is underrated and receives too much criticism? A lot of people have this movie lowered in their all-time Star Wars movie rankings. People not in favorable in this one. They don't like that much, and a lot of people give out negative reviews and critique negatively. And the film receives a lot of heat and criticism. But for me, I am very positive on this film. I actually rank this movie higher than any other Star Wars movies, not surpassing the original trilogy, of course. And this is one of my special films of all because this is the first ever Star Wars film that I ever met when I was during my childhood, living through the prequel trilogy. And a lot of the older generation of Star Wars fans, when they're introduced to Star Wars, their first ever film they met was Star Wars: A New Hope. In my case, it's Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. So this film holds a special feeling for me. And yes, of course, there are negatives and flaws that exist in the film, but it's still a great, entertaining action sci fi to enjoy and to consume. And I think this film is more underrated Star Wars film than any other films, in my opinion. And there are two things about this film. On one is the critical part of this film and the underrated part of this film. On the critical part is just the fact that this film didn't live up to the level of expectation to the original trilogy. When it released, this film carried a heavy load in terms of expectation. It lacked the greatness of the originals with regard to energy, captivation, story follow up. The original trilogy has great premise and storytelling, great character developments, everything. Everything about the original trilogy is perfect. Like, it's very simple to follow. Like, good guy, the rebels against the evil empire, the bad guys. I mean, it's very, very simple. And the fact that the Phantom Menace, when it was released, everybody was hyped up for, oh, it's gonna surpass and everything. Well, it didn't. And you have to accept the fact that it's not as good as the original trilogy. And that's the part. You have to accept it. But as its own individual rights, the Phantom Menace is still good in their own respect. It's just the fact that it just didn't live up to the billing of the original trilogy. I mean, that's just a fact. And nothing can surpass the original trilogy. That's just a fact. And another couple negative thing about this film is like people hate on Jar Jar Binks. He's annoying. He's doing dumb things, such a drag on the film. But for me, I actually like Jar Jar. I actually like his goofiness, his characteristic. It's very, very kind of goofy and funny to watch him going through all those stuffs. Even he's doing some stupid stuff there. Jar Jar for me, I really like him so. And next one is Anakin. I don't know how people feel about Anakin, this the little boy. The actor, he's too little and everything. But for me, I really like him as a character. Like little boy, he's very pure in retrospect, and it's just very, very organic, his characteristics. So I actually like the fact that Anakin is very, very pure in this one. So probably the biggest critique that I have for this film is that it's just a bumpy storyline. It's very perplexing, kind of unknown. And the most thing that I don't like about this film is that the political aspect to it, like intergalactic trade issue, like Galactic Republic and the Congress hearing, like the Trade Federation, the taxation of the trade routes. I mean, those are like kind of like iffy stuff. It's like so unnecessary. And because personally in real life I don't like any political stuff, and these are the fact that kids might not be interest that part. It's gonna bore you and it's very complicated. So those are the fact that I didn't like it. And There shouldn't be an issue in terms of dialogue, acting, pace of the story. Those are very good. I think the whole part of the criticism is that it's mythology, this whole movie is. Like, what are you trying to make a point? What are you trying to clear up? Like, the Phantom Menace. Who is the menace? Like, is it Anakin, the little boy? Is it the Sith? Or is it Darth Maul? I mean, what are you trying to prove the point? I think that's the part I think people questions and wonders about. The fact that it's not this film is about surpassing the original trilogy. It's just the fact that this movie is about the first step of the journey, the beginning of the story, and eventually connecting the dots to the original trilogy. That's the whole point about the Phantom Menace, in my opinion. And the underrated part about this film, and a lot of people who critical of this film, they only see two things. Oh, it's just the thrilling, exciting pod race and the duel of fates, the lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan against Darth Maul. I mean, that's what they see. There are other good stuffs that happen or exist in this film, like the human relationship aspect, particularly Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Anakin and his mother. I thought it's very, very pure emotion. I like the organic development in those films. I really feel their emotion, and especially Qui-Gon and Anakin's connection is very, very natural. It's very, very pure emotion. It's really, really touching experience to see their build up in this movie. The next underrated thing about this film is that faster pace, action, more athleticism, more faster, bigger moves. I like those elements to it because in the original trilogy, yes, there are some moves that you can enjoy and bigger moves, but in quite figure it's a little immobile to it. But the Phantom Menace, they finally introduced that part, which really enjoy those actions where it's very flexible, very quicker moves. It's very, very fun to watch. And next thing about this underrated part of this film is Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson. And I like the fact that he's not into those political stuff, those Jedi codes and stuff. He's like believes in the living force. I thought he's more natural as a personality in terms of characteristic. He's very, very underrated. And the fact that we only get to see him once in the future film, it's kind of like a bummer. So Qui-Gon Jinn, I really enjoy his characteristic traces in this movie. And next one is Darth Maul as the villain. I mean, very, very cool villain. The fact that you only get to see him once in this film is just kind of bummer as also as well. Of course, the entrance scene, the Duel of Fates moment, that's one of the coolest moments of all in Star Wars history. And he's very, very show good presence and shadowy and darkness to it. It's very, very cool. He's a cool villain. And obviously, Obi-Wan's defining moment beating Darth Maul and Yoda's quote. I really enjoyed one of the Yoda's quote in this movie. Is like when during the Jedi Council testing Anakin was like,
"Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering."
That's a very, very chilling. It's very great telling about it. Other thing about it is that I like about it is that not just Liam Neeson is the lead, turned Ewan McGregor as the pretty solid Hollywood star, and Natalie Portman became one of the bigger blockbuster actors of all, and of course later won an Oscar as well. So I like the casting in this well. So overall wise, it's pure emotion, The Phantom Menace. Genuine story, kid-centric, which makes it so joyous and bright to watch, minus the political aspects, natural organic character emotions, and nice development. By the way, I give this movie 4-star, and every rewatch I'm going to do, it's 4-star. It's a lock. The film doesn't deserve so many hates from all the negative critics. Obviously, the overshadowed deficiency and shortage are out there. However, it doesn't expose nor ruin as negatively as much as for me. I feel the positive vibe and impression from this film. It's an enjoyable saga to watch. Some nice humors, a lot more fun than people think of. Good dazzling sci-fi action entertainment. And I think the Star Wars purist loves this film, and I'm one of the Star Wars purists out there. I truly love this film so much. And truth to be said, that's why The Phantom Menace, it's more underrated Star Wars films of all. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on Star Wars The Phantom Menace. What do you think about it? On the next couple of videos, I'll be doing a little more Star Wars stuff as I get ready for the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming up on Disney+. Can't wait for that. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.